guy like Jay Johnson or a lady like Kim Mulkey, if they were recruiting the same exact way they are right now in football. Like, as an example, Jay Johnson gets 19 commitments, or 19 signees, I should say. 11 of them are in the top 100. 8 of them are what we would consider 5 stars. Jay Johnson's out here killing it in recruiting. Kim Mulkey, even though I've been out here saying and out here in these people's streets saying, hey, Jay Johnson's the best recruiter on LSU campus. Kim Mulkey comes out here and says, I've been in this game way too long, you little whippersnapper named Blake Ruffino. I can recruit too. Well, by the way, I thought LSU was poor. You know, like LSU doesn't do things in NIL. Well, they're top 3 in football recruiting, which we're going to get to a little bit tonight here too if we have some time. Know a lot of people are freaking out. And what do I always tell you? There's always 2 sides to a story. Blake, did you see? We might have a little shakeup. Brad Davis, what are you doing? I always tell you, get to the forum. Going to do something tomorrow morning with it. Secondly, hold. Says Mel Gibson in Braveheart. Hold your horses. Don't put the cart ahead of the horse. In reference to Jay Johnson, look, man, the dude, Jay is just a different breed of human. Now, not all of these kids that he signs are going to be on campus. Maybe half of the top are not going to be at LSU. Guys, he was number 1 in the portal. He was number 1 in high school recruiting. There's literally nothing else better that you can ask for him. By the way, LSU was not always like that under Paul Mainieri. One thing that we know is that Jay Johnson's going to dominate. And Kim, look, Kim is the Saban of women's basketball, the way that she runs a program. The people that are under her dominate in recruiting. They dominate in so many different areas, and it's why you continue to have success. Guys, when you get the better Jimmys and Joes than the other guy, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win. You know, it's like equating it to a pickup game of basketball. You would do the same thing. If all of us were on a wall and we were picking, or somebody was picking 5 players to play some pickup basketball, and then Shaquille O'Neal walks in. Well, the first person that all of us here are going to pick is clearly going to be Shaquille. Now, 9 times out of 10, it's not maybe that big of a gap between you, I, and Shaq. You get my drift. You 1,000% get my drift. I do think Kim, I do think Jay have not, I'm going to say this, I'm going to want to say this carefully. I think Kim and Jay have not relied on other people to make sure that their programs are running efficiently and effectively in recruiting. And the reason that they continue to do what they're doing is because they don't rely on anybody else but themselves and their staffs to dominate in recruiting. Now, if you're smart enough, you'll put the dots together of what I'm saying. Even though Brian Kelly does have a top 5 overall class, and he's going to continue that, in my humble opinion, and you need difference makers. That's where we're at the current moment. So we'll get to that. Oh, boy, there was a big conversation today. Brian Kelly on the SEC teleconference said, and I'm quoting, "In no way are we going to bench Garrett Nussmeier." He says, and I quote here too, "He gives us the best ability to win." Well, we talked about that on this show, did we not? Literally, we had a super chat in the show last night about, well, Blake, what do you do with Garrett? Do you bench him? And I'm like, in no way humanly possible are you, number one, going to bench him. But then number 2, literally, it was a big conversation piece last night. But then number 2, I don't think that there's anybody behind him that's better on your team right now that can take that position. But before we get rolling here, I did see I did see the big debate. I kind of got into it and involved in it myself. I normally don't get in these anymore. But, guys, the reason these questions are asked, and I saw a lot of you, you're asking if we're going to bitch a first-round quarterback. Guys, Garrett Nussmeier has no business being a first-round quarterback right now. If you think that he is, then me and you have a very different opinion of what reality is going to look like. Listen, here's the truth, because Brian Kelly was asked this later on today, and it was a whole bunch of you talking about this on Twitter and Facebook in reference to Brian Kelly's comments of Garrett Nussmeier being benched. Or not really just being benched, but looking somewhere else to somebody else to see if they have anything else. Brian Kelly did say this, and I thought it was interesting. See, this is what got lost in the fold in the SEC teleconference today. Brian Kelly, after he said that Garrett Nussmeier gives us the best chance of win, he says, and I quote, "We can't keep turning the ball over. We got to put Garrett in situations that are better." Brian Kelly was then asked, well, what is better? And he says, less is more. It's interesting this week, and we're going to talk about this ad nauseum probably tonight when he joins us at 7:35. Florida plays a lot of off coverage. You better Arkansas them to death. You better make them make the adjustments. Because if you do that and you throw the ball in the intermediate, we are going to talk about that in do's and don'ts. You're going to win the football game. You're 1,000% going to win the football game. But Brian Kelly, for the first time, really emphasized, because I watch every pregame, postgame, all of it, really finally emphasized about the turnovers. He probably did it because it was on the SEC teleconference, and people don't really pull stuff from SEC teleconferences and put it on Twitter. But he finally did admit, he finally got after, like, hey, this has got to stop. Yes, it's got to stop. I can't keep repeating myself. I know it was the big trendy thing today. I can't keep repeating myself. Garrett has abilities and traits that are elite even for the NFL. He also has some of the worst decision-making that we see a high schooler make. He hasn't progressed there. And, guys, until he shows that he can consistently do that, these conversations are going to continue to be had. I saw a lot of you. Well, we don't have a viable backup. Well, if you did, then what? So let's not – there are two conversations that you could have. What if you did have a viable backup? Then what? Then what? Because Garrett Nussmeier has played in 27 games at LSU. He's started 9 of the 27 that he's played in, and he's got 20 turnovers. Those things have got to get corrected. Whether you want to agree with me or not, you cannot turn the ball over. It's as simple as that, man. It is as simple as that. So I know that was the big conversation piece today when he was asked about it on the SEC teleconference. All I'm going to say is this. You are right. I am right. There is probably nobody behind him that could take that next step to be a guy for you right now this season. But there is a question that I will ask you. What if you did have a viable backup? What if you did have a guy that was considered, I don't want to say considered a Nussmeier, but what if you had a guy that people wanted to take a better look at? Guys, you would be calling for him. You and I both know. It's ironic. We would be saying this, but if Walker Howard were still here weeks ago, y'all would have called for Walker Howard. After A&M, you 1,000% would have called for Walker Howard. Now, Walker got beat out by an incoming freshman. That's neither here nor there. But if he were still here, you and I both know you would be calling for him. All right, let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor. Oh, wait. You're right. I got to get to the shoot. We got to get to the chat. Carver says, accuracy, poor footwork, not stepping into the pocket. These are things that's hard to fix at this point. Well, I mean, that's to Carver's point, quote, Brian Kelly, on his footwork. His mechanics have just simply got to get better. That's a quote unquote. It's the number one thing that he hears from me every single day is that his footwork has got to get better. The conversations that Garrett and I have on a daily basis is that his footwork has got to get better. When your footwork is better, it automatically leads you to the right decisions. It automatically leads you to making the right throws. I agree. All right. Cortland, I don't understand this. He says Jaden Nuss averaged the maybe the same number of completions, but it takes Nuss twice as many attempts to achieve it. You mean completions? Because accuracy-wise, LSU is 45th in the country. I mean, we're literally talking about this tonight. They're 45th in the country in completion percentage rate. Like, what are we doing? Where's everybody watching from tonight? 225-337-985-504-3183. When great, where are y'all watching from tonight? Let's get to a couple more, and then we'll get rolling here. Jared Guillory says bench Nuss. I vehemently disagree with that. Even if there was a backup, which there's not, we live in the real world. I don't think Ricky, and from what I've seen, I do not think that Ricky, nor do I think that AJ Swan's good enough to beat him. I think Garrett's better than them. And that should tell you something. And it should vehemently tell you something about what Joe Sloan, Bryant Kelly, Cortez Hankton, and others think about it. All right, last one, then we'll get rolling. Did Joe and Jaden throw for 50 times? I think the best way to limit the turnover is Garrett limit his deep balls on his dropbacks. Cation, do you think that I don't know what game that you watch. Do you think that Joe Sloan is calling to take a shot on every play? Because I know that he's not. I know for a fact that he's not. I continue to see plays over and over and over again, and I know that he's not. So, number one, that's not true. Number two, Jaden did have 2 games where he averaged 50 dropbacks. The difference is that he can run and do a lot of different things and be a difference maker. I didn't even bring up Jaden here. Y'all brought up Jaden. What I'm going to say is I don't let's talk about basic, fundamental, simple football. Okay, get this through everybody's head. This is a number one principle. This does not change. If you've ever put on shoulder pads, cleats, shells, helmet, whatever. If you are an offensive player, especially a quarterback, it does not matter what is going on around you. If you, he throws the ball 50 times a game. Guys, there's been dudes in air raid systems in the SEC at Mississippi State that average 55 dropbacks per game that did not have a better running game than you, ironically, and still didn't turn the ball over in the SEC as much as you do. The number one objective, there is not a remote close number 2. The number one responsibility from a quarterback or any offensive player is to not turn the ball over. I'm going to give you an example. John Emery has like 5 or 6 fumbles on his career. We would want him pulled for 1 fumble. 1. You cannot turn the football over. That is the bottom line. Why that is still a talking point is beyond me. So when I look at Will Rogers in the SEC, now make your point. Now make your point. Here's the truth. I said this on Monday. The God's honest truth is Max Johnson has, when he was at LSU, was more efficient than what Garrett has been to this point. Y'all understand that? So if we're talking about the caliber of stuff, Blake, that LSU team could run the ball. They ran the ball 1 game. Now, Ty Davis-Price was 1,000-yard back, mainly due to what he did against Florida. But do you really think that Max Johnson had help? His number one wide receiver, Kayshon Boutte, got hurt in the middle of the year. It's what are we talking about? Bro, who was the other wide receiver that went to Auburn? Y'all help me out. Who was the kid that played here and went to Auburn? It was one of his lead wide receivers. God bless it. His name slips my mind. Y'all help me out before we get rolling here. Coy Moore. Thank you. Pause up. Guys, Coy Moore was a leading target for him. Come on, dude. Come on. All right. And I agree. And look, I've continuously agreed that we got to be more balanced. But it's the number one objective. When everything around you is shit, it doesn't give you the excuse to turn the ball over. Let's get rolling. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups on Facebook. Share to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let's get to a quick break. We come back and do LSU's do's and don'ts for the Florida week. We're not actually a lot this week. Only a couple things that I want to see. Carter Bryant joins us in just a little while. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
All right. Let's get rolling. Every Wednesday, or if you're watching this clip, every Thursday, we get into LSU's do's and don'ts for the week. This week against the Florida Gators. Normally, I come out here and we talk about, look, hey, man, there are 4 or 5 things that you just cannot do in this game that you have either, number one, been struggling with, or number two, that if you continue to show flashes that you're doing this, that you're going to get beat. Guys, tonight I only have 2. At this point in the season, all the way into November, what do I not know about this team? Guys, what do you not know about LSU at this point in November? I feel pretty confident in what I know about them. You probably feel pretty confident in what that you know about them. So there's only 2 main areas that I want LSU to focus on this week. Like, hey, man, if you clean this up, all right, good to go. I love it. That means you're making progress in 2 big areas. There's a lot of things I got to see you do this week. There are 4 main things I got to see you do, though. Things that, listen, man, after coming off back-to-back really bad performances, it would make everyone feel a little bit better, clearly, if LSU is out there or able to go out there and do some dominating things or borderline dominating things, some really good things. Let's talk about them here. So, look, let's get through the don'ts. I always say let's get to the negative first and then get to some of the positive. Let's talk about the negative. We actually just got done talking about one of them, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. If you're watching the clip, just go watch the live show and you'll get it. Guys, the number one thing that we cannot do this week, we cannot turn the ball over. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I can give you one big reason. If you turn the ball over to Florida this week, they will do to you what they did to Georgia. Now, Blake, Georgia's fraudulent. Well, what are you? If you think a Georgia football team's fraudulent, then what are you? That's the question I would have for you. If you turn the ball over like Carson Beck did a couple of weeks ago in Florida, which, by the way, he threw 3 picks, Billy Napier is going to line up and play keep away from you. By the way, I said this today when we were over with our friends at Service Hawk Digital Media. That episode is on the YouTube channel. Go over and subscribe. You can watch it there. Guys, it is very simple to me that if you continue down the path that you're going, 12 points the last 6 quarters, if you're going to continue down that path, then there's no real avenue of you winning any of these football games, even against Oklahoma. Now, I don't think that Florida, Vandy, and Oklahoma are as good as the teams that you just got done facing. They're not. But one thing is for certain. Florida wants to play keep away. They want to line up and run the football 4, 5 yards, 4 and 5 yards. Guys, if you give Billy those rush lanes, if you give this Billy Napier team, which it looks like DJ Lagway is going to be back this week, and they hit you with a play action, guys, what Anthony Richardson did to you is what they want to do. The only difference is Lagway's probably not going to run on you and score the way that Anthony Richardson did a year ago, or exactly what Florida did a year ago on you with Graham Mertz. Guys, they still scored 35 points on you. Billy Napier has scored, ironically, a lot of points on you. Well, Blake, the defense is better this year than they have been. Even though they've had 2 bad games, it's been against running quarterbacks. I get it. I'm with you. I still think that they cause massive issues for you in a lot of different areas. They give you the same exact eye candy, and if you keep being undisciplined, they're going to find ways to complete some passes on you and run the football. One thing that's ironic, we're not talking about this game being in the swamp at 2:30. It's the first time that I've mentioned it this week, and it's on a Wednesday. Guys, we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. You turn the ball over, you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get beat. And if it's not you getting beat, it simply is going to be that you're in a dogfight versus Florida. At this exact moment, here's where I stand on it. I am just going into a game, every single game, assuming that you're going to turn the ball over. That's what I'm assuming. So until you prove to me that you can limit it, I think that you can be in a dogfight with anybody. There's nobody on the rest of the schedule, maybe Oklahoma, but there's nobody left on the schedule that I'm just like, yeah, I could see it. That you get away from them, that you score a lot of points and you're able to slow them down offensively. I can see it. Turn the ball over and see what happens. Number 2, guys, here's the only thing that I want to see. The one thing that you just cannot do this week if you're LSU defensively. We talked about offensively and not turning the ball over. There's only one thing. I need these dudes to give effort, man. Give everything you got. Lay your body down on the line in this game. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen the clip that's out there on a particular LSU safety that gave up on tackling Jalen Milroe where he would go in and score. He made a business decision. Because there were a lot of times in the game last week that you gave up. And if there's one thing that is just unacceptable, and I'm talking about it's the number one thing defensively. If you don't give effort, then I'm not going to come out here and like call players out and say this guy's trash and that guy's trash and that guy can't play and that guy. I'm not going to do that. But guys, that shows team culture. Last week, you and I had to discuss a conversation last Monday. The conversation went like, listen, in my humble opinion, you are going to see where this team culture is. We talk about culture and football culture and how the locker room is. We talk about that all the time in football. Last week when we talked about, hey, you're going to find out what this team's all about and the culture behind Brian Kelly's locker room is all about when they hit that field against Alabama and adversity hits. You found out about it. Because when we can pull up the film, when we can look at the games, and we can see players not giving effort, not trying to make tackles, and just lollygagging around. Well, I don't know what else to say. But you got to start making examples out of players that don't want to give full effort. LSU moved Javian Toviano to start this year. And I'm not trying to call for Major Burns' job or anything like that. But I would show your team that if you're not going to give max effort when we're still technically in a football game and we're going to make business decisions here, let's see what number 25 can do. He's not the only safety that's not giving a lot of effort. He's not the only player defensively that's not giving a lot of effort. And look, truth be told, I know what every coach on that staff will tell me. Man, Blake, you have no idea what you're talking about. All of these guys are getting effort. Well, I have a clip, and I know that you saw it, that I can pull up 20 plays defensively last week where there were certain guys not giving effort. Most of those guys are upperclassmen. Most of those guys, I don't know if they love football. Most of those guys, there are guys underneath them, pause, that would cut off their left arm to be out there where they are. It's a culture thing too. If you want to talk about one of the biggest things that Brian Kelly has got to fix, it's that. Because we talked about Blake Baker all the times. We talked about Blake Baker changing a lot of things. Well, is some of that starting to fade a little? I refuse to acknowledge any other thing defensively until I start seeing you play with max effort. We can talk about being disciplined and gap sound and all that stuff. But the one thing that you just cannot do this week is continue to play without effort. There's no chance in hell that dudes would be playing for me if they're making business decisions. There's no way. All right. And you can make the argument, just very quickly, you can make the argument, well, Blake, we don't want to give up on kids, or this kid behind him's even worse. I'm like, okay, that doesn't matter to me defensively. If you're not going to give effort, then you have no business being out there. At least Jordan Gilbert as an example, even though he's not making the play, at least I know he's giving me everything he's got. And that's all I can ask for. That's all I can ask for here. So say that I'm calling out players, get mad at me that you think I'm calling out players. You better go out there this week and light somebody's shit up like a Christmas tree. Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree, you better light that dude up. Go light somebody up. When's the last time that we've seen an LSU defender slobber knock somebody outside of Sage Ryan in that Arkansas one? Go, don't kill somebody. Go hurt somebody. It's what football's made for. It's a violent sport for a reason. All right. Let's run through some of these do's, things that I want to see LSU do this week. Number one, I want to see at least, and not, I don't think you can do this specifically. I want to see you run outside zone, under pistol, under center, or just outside zone out of the gun at least 10 times this week. I think that you can get to the edge on Florida with Caden Durham. They're going to run a 3-3-5 stack. They're going to show you different looks, but it's all the same principles. Let's see if they got more team speed than you. Let's find out early. Let's find out often. Guys, you're 130th in the country in called runs. So I keep hearing every week from Brian Kelly, we got to be more consistent for Nuss. We got to be more consistent for Nuss. We got to run the ball more for Nuss. What's wrong with punting the football? I would rather you punt the football than turn the ball over. I promise you that. I promise you that. You can't keep getting away from the run. Guys, just because a running back, literally, just because a running back gets one carry and goes for 1 yard means nothing. It means nothing. Because I look at Alabama last week, guys, do you know how many times that you stopped them after 1, 2, or 3 yards? A lot with their running backs. Same goes for A&M. Look at the entire first half. But they continue to lean on it with their running backs. Look at South Carolina. When you played them, they don't get away from it. I know everybody thinks that LSU cannot run the football. There is some truth in that. There's also some truth in that you're not running it enough. You can't abandon – guys, we have completely abandoned the run. Completely. There's 133 teams in the FBS. You are third to last. You are third to last. Make that make sense to me. Every week I keep hearing from you or Brian Kelly or everybody else say to me, well, Blake, we gotta help Nuss run the football. Well, then why are you calling 130 run plays? Well, we can't run it. You literally had an outside zone run for 45. Okay, well, Blake, we really didn't get anything going outside of that. You ran the ball with Caden Durham 7 more times. What are you talking about? The dude should have anywhere from 10 to 15 carries at minimum, or at least touches. So what are you trying to say to me? Well, Blake, you got 20 yards on 5 other carries. Okay, so he ran the ball for 4 yards a carry. Run the ball to the outside. Run the ball to the outside. I just found out that I did not send Carter the link. I don't think. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. That's my fault. When we're only on number 1. All right, I got 2 more here. Carter Bryant joins us in just a second. Look, you got to get other players' looks on defense. You got to legitimately, you have to give some of these younger guys look in the secondary, especially at safety. Guys, it's the biggest thing I want to see this week. You keep telling me that these younger guys can't play. Okay, well, I want to see it. Because I've seen it at practice. Guys, like I've seen Kylan Jackson at practice. I don't think he's anything worse, completely worse, than what you've seen from some of the guys at safety. I really don't. All right, 2 more here. I think you can get pressure on DJ Lagway. Like, legitimately, I think that you can. I don't know how mobile he's going to be. You've actually been really good at getting after the passer. When a guy can't move, continue to do it. Continue to do it. And I think you're going to have success. Last but not least, guys, I know Ron Roberts really well. Ron was the head coach of Southeastern Louisiana before he moved to ULL. Then he went to Baylor. Then he went to Auburn. Now he's at Florida. The chances of Ron Roberts playing bump man-to-man coverage or having corners play up close to the line of scrimmage is not likely. As someone who's seen a lot of Southeastern Louisiana games, UL games, Baylor games, and he really didn't do that, a lot of Baylor and Auburn and Florida, they are going to play off coverage. Take the Arkansas game plan, go to the screens, go to the, what do you call it, the copy machine, copy it word for word, and give it to your players and the staff. You do that, you're going to convincingly win, I promise you, because you can get down to the red zone. You got to have at least, if you're going to throw the ball 40 or 50 times a game, you got to have at minimum 12 to 15 passes, 10 yards shorter. You do. You do that, you're going to be all right. All right. Let's get to Carter Bryant. Let me get to a quick break. The man is back. He's supposed to, he normally comes on Mondays, but he had some obligations. We see him next. Carter Bryant joins us. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Man, the myth, the legend, Carter, the power, Bryant. Good evening, good sir. How are you?
Oh boy, I'm glad I wasn't on with you on Monday. It gives you a chance to cool down a little bit, knowing that
I wasn't the one that everybody said that blew a gasket this week. They said your film breakdown, you blew a gasket.
Yeah, I mean it was it was bad. It was bad, and it's not good when a quarterback who's mostly been good this season plays his worst game, and it's not good when your head coach has his worst game, and it's not good when you know your defense had its worst game. When Blake, you had 2 weeks to prepare for this, and here's the thing. All right, it was 2 weeks, and the two things that cost you the game were the two things that you mentioned for the 2 weeks. Right, not letting Milroe walk in to the end zone. It was like my barbershop walk-ins are welcome. Jalen Milroe just prancing in, untouched. Well, not untouched, but you get the picture. And,
I mean, there were 2 touchdown runs he had that were untouched.
Right. And Garrett Nussmeier, things were not easier for him, and he made things a lot harder on himself as well. It was a very, very, very sloppy game from him. And you're hoping it wasn't a continuation of the second half versus A&M, and then it was exactly that with the turnovers. So it was tough. You were talking about the run game, Blake. It was better. I do have to say it was definitely better in this game.
Can I pause you?
Yeah.
What was the number one thing you and I talked about last week that I was pretty confident that you could do?
Yeah, you said that they could run. Yeah, they did some good things in the run game.
Why did they not stay with it? Why are they refusing to continue to go to outside zone? Why?
Yeah, so early in the game it worked. They got very creative with it, overloading and putting all the receivers on that side. They did better Alabama on some of the run stuffs. A big play was that 50-50 holding call going against Will Campbell on the go on.
Well, they ran a misdirection with it. It was the same formation. Xavion comes in motion. They fake the handoff and give it to him. Right? So if they stay with it, which, by the way, the very next play, Josh Williams gets a 6-yard run on an outside zone.
Yeah, I'll give Sloan that. I mean, the run game did look better. I mean, there was some things that they did better in terms of opening up holes, but it wasn't like pristine, right? And it's so hard.
I don't need pristine. I need you to just give me 5 yards. So God forbid it's third down. It's 3rd and 5 and not 3rd and forever.
Yeah, they did better. They did a lot better. But let me ask you this: would you change centers?
No. You want me to give you the reason why?
Yeah, let's go.
Because I've been out there to see the second center, which, by the way, he's out this week, and Garrett Dellinger, and the third center is, if you think DJ Chester is not ready, Cohen Eccles definitely isn't ready.
So let me throw a name out there that snapped the ball. I know some in practice. What about Bo Bordelon?
No.
You don't think he can hold up?
No, I know he can't. I Carter, he was getting obliterated in practice.
Yes, and that's what I've heard. And I haven't been to an LSU practice in over a decade. But
Carter, they're putting him on outside linebackers and putting him at tight end because he can't play in the interior. That's how bad it's gotten. And I understand why LSU wants to, keep G.J. Chester because half the battle is getting good snaps, and his snaps have been good this year. But I do think they need to do something else. And I got an idea. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Stop running inside. That's the bottom line. You're good. Oh well, we're going to be one dimensional. Well, be one dimensional. Or and here's a thought. You ready? What happens? What do teams do when you can't run the football up the middle? What do they all do? Dump downs and little stop mesh routes to a tight end. It's not. You're not. There's not one scenario that LSU is struggling with that you can't overcome it. It's not. There's not one. They're not doing it. That's the problem. They don't know how to do it.
Right. So let me ask you this: would you make a change at quarterback?
No, definitely not. Would you?
No.
All right, well, let me ask you this: what would you do at center?
I would try somebody else, just anyone that you could think of. I think that's where it's gotten to at this point. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think. Obviously, the best center since Lloyd Cushenberry was Charles Turner by far, and that's not. I mean, Charles was solid. He wasn't great. I don't think anyone would consider him a top 5 center in the modern era.
Boy, you miss Marlon Martinez right now, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's. A few bad snaps in the Missouri game cost him the starting center role. I mean, it's just what happened. And I don't know. I would try something else. Chester is it's not just me. It's PFF that views him as the second worst center in college football right now. And I would just try something new there. I would.
They don't, Carter. We can say this until we're blue in the face. I get what you're saying. I don't vehemently disagree. I think he's a guard. I don't think he's
right.
I honestly think DJ Chester's a right tackle. I think he's got no business playing center, but that's neither here nor there. they don't have another option. They simply don't. Not one that I've seen. And unless you're going to run Cohen Eccles out there, then I mean, you can't run that kid out there. I'm sorry, you can't. It's not going to get any better. And here's another thing. You're going to go with a first-time center with Paul Mabenga now having to start at left guard for a second straight game because Garrett Dellinger's out. I don't know if the thing's out yet. I don't know if the injury report's out yet when we're talking, but he's out. I'll confirm that he's out. So regardless, I get what you're saying. I just don't. I don't know. Now let me ask. I mean, I don't know what you do. Let me ask you. You asked me the question about quarterback. I think there's no way in hell that you can pull Garrett.
No, not right now. I would like to see Ricky get a start. I wouldn't mind him starting either of the last few games.
Even with an SEC championship game technically still on the line.
Well, if they lose versus Florida, but yeah, I think you got to roll with Garrett. I do. I think the last three halves have just been atrocious from him. I mean, he's got to play better. You got to see more of what you saw in crunch time versus Ole Miss, and a lot of quarterbacks have struggled with turnovers this year, in particular. The pocket quarterbacks. Carson Beck said turnover issues, but it's got to be another.
If Carson Beck's not in the SEC, we don't look at him the same way.
Yeah, he's
if this is happening at Penn State with Drew Aller's a sit-back quarterback. He doesn't have issues.
Yeah, and that's what's really been perplexing to me is the turnovers have not gotten better. And look, some of that's on Garrett. The one miss that really pissed me off was in the second half. Obviously, the 3rd and 4 miss in the first half was just massive. That was the biggest miss of the game. And when your defense is playing that poorly, you just have no room for error. You just got to convert that. There was 3 different options that would have gotten it done, and he missed all of them. And then spinning out, and I know DJ Chester was in his lap again, but he's got to hit Aaron Anderson on that post in the second half. You just got to.
Wait, you didn't hear Max Toscano?
No,
nobody's open on the post. He said the post nobody's open. Aaron's wide open.
Oh yeah, on that one. Yeah, I didn't see.
Yeah.
What?
So I mean, DJ. I'm gonna. All right. This is where me and you are gonna disagree.
Yeah, go on.
I'm not gonna blame DJ there. Can I tell you why? Nuss cannot run to the line of scrimmage and change. I know for a fact that he cannot. That he changed the protection. He cannot run up there and change the protection. Miles Frazier doesn't hear it clearly. And here's how I know that protection got changed. You ready? We're blaming DJ Chester. You're right. It's bad. He's assuming that Miles will be there. Okay. His responsibility is to be in his area. There's not a man that he has. He's not supposed to pick that man up. When Miles goes to the other defensive end, Carter, you legitimately have.
Oh, I wasn't referencing the fumble.
I know. Hold on.
Oh,
hold
okay,
on.
you're talking about something
hold
else.
on. Okay. Because everybody's blaming DJ Chester, but I gotta say this. You're talking about the rollout. Okay, let's start with that whole play. Okay, the problem is that you have Will Campbell and Paul Mabenga that legitimately shift left. They do not take a pass set. They don't go boom, boom. They shift left for whatever Garrett saw, and so did DJ Chester, which immediately for an offensive lineman, something comes off in my head. Why aren't they pass setting? Why are they moving left? Was there did they call a blitz to the left? What are they doing? That's number one. Okay. Number two, that's Miles Frazier's zone. You can ask any offensive line coach in the SEC right now, and they will confirm that. DJ gets blamed for that. That's got to be on Frazier. However, Carter, more people that blame DJ Chester for that play than the turnover.
Are you talking about the fumble?
I'm talking about the fumble.
Okay, yes. So the fumble play. Yeah. No, yeah, Garrett can't turn that over in that spot. And he needs to quit doing the spinning thing. It's not
Take the
working.
sack. Take the sack.
Yeah.
It is better than trying to create. Joe would always say, it's okay to live to another down. It is okay to live to another down. He's
Eat the
pressing too much. To your point about the turnovers I'd make. Carter, here's the stat of the night for me. Are you ready? Garrett Nussmeier has played in 27 games at LSU. He started 9 of them. So that means in 18 games, he either came in mop-up duty or he had to come in the second half because somebody got hurt, right? So he's played in a lot of games. In the 27 games that he's played in those 9 starts, he's turned the ball over 20 times.
Yeah, no, it's bad. No, it's really bad.
It's more than bad, bud. It's more than bad. It's borderline. Carter, I'm going to make an example to you. Here's a debate for you. Max Johnson was more efficient than Garrett Nussmeier.
In what way?
Every way.
I won't go that far. Huh?
You should, because here's the thing. Nuss has double the turnovers that Max Johnson did at LSU the year that he started.
Yeah,
it's not a debate. The efficiency part on the turnovers are alone. Okay, Carter, you think in 3 games he can get to 8 touchdown passes? I could see that, but again, they would have the same number of touchdown passes if he gets to 8 in these next 3 games. And what are we labeling on? They're both 65% completion percentage, where the other is 62% completion percentage.
So you would take Max Johnson over Garrett Nussmeier?
I didn't say that. One has been more efficient, though. Like, everybody wants to throw these stats at me, but then when there's a stat that comes out that says, well, hey, this guy was more efficient, I think Garrett has a massive upside more than Max Johnson. Don't get that twisted.
Okay, yeah.
We're talking about efficiency.
Max, he had a lot of turnover-worthy play luck, but he didn't turn it over as much as Garrett Nussmeier.
No.
Right? Yeah.
No. And by the way, he didn't have 27 games, and this continued to be a problem for him. Like, regardless of what we think about the kid, if that does not get clean, Carter, look, let me ask you the question. Do you think LSU, outside of Bryce Underwood, needs to look for an experienced quarterback as a backup for next year if they don't think A.J. Swan can come in?
Well, it depends what Ricky Collins does. You know, if you've put
assume to me that Ricky Collins is out of the picture.
Yes, then you would need to get an experienced. Well, I don't know if you do land Bryce Underwood and he is the 5-star can't miss guy, and you're allocating all the resources it's going to take to get the signature, then I'm fine with him being the top backup next season or battling.
I think you got to roll with him.
Yeah.
And then if what happens with Colin Hurley, I mean, you have quarterbacks. I'd stay with A.J. Swan just in case, like in a deep emergency. It is what it is. What the comments saying? I'm not even looking at them. They're mad at us.
Oh, they're constantly mad at me. I'm used to it now. Someone says I live in an apartment, and I need to examine my I need to examine my nose hairs. Let's see.
Are they bad? We should. Is it Cortland that's doing that?
No. Mad Mike and friends, and someone. I've gotten a bunch of way nastier comments.
I know.
All right, but that's fine.
Let's get to Florida here because I think we spent a lot of time on that. Your thoughts on this Florida game?
Yeah, obviously this is a story throughout the SEC is the quarterback health, right, of Nico in the Tennessee-Georgia game, and then obviously DJ Lagway. Obviously, Lagway is a twofold issue, right? He's better than what Florida currently has with Warner, whatever. And he is mobile, unlike Warner, number 16, who had a rough game versus Texas, but also has done some good things as like a number 3 emergency quarterback. Yes, he's not as atrocious as you would think a walk-on would be. I know that sounds crazy because it's not been productive, but he had some good drives in that Georgia game in short notice, and Florida had some issues with turnovers and all of that are out of his control. But if Lagway plays, you're going to see the zone read stuff. It would be nefarious for Billy Napier to not try and do that. And Blake, Florida, they've not had Louisiana native Montrell Johnson, but Jaden Baugh is really
he's so good. Dude, he's
really
so
good.
good.
Blue collar, 3-star running back. And one thing that was interesting in the Texas game, for some reason, he switched to going bare hands. It wasn't raining or anything. He went old school, just good old fashioned.
Maurice Claret.
Yes.
Same number too.
Yeah, just give him the daggum rock. And they did a lot of Wildcat with them, and it was effective.
No.
Yeah.
Dude, can I tell you something?
Let's hear it.
With DJ Lagway's status this week and the effectiveness that they had on Texas and the Wildcat, if Billy Napier has a brain, and I'm talking about has a brain, okay, he would go out of Wildcat, and run it all day on us.
Just straight jet sweep motions. I would just force LSU to prove that they can stay in their gaps and play that, and that might be effective. And you go the Lynn Bowden route with Ball. Ball's really good. Ball is surprising.
If we lose a game because they keep going out of Wildcat, I will break something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it could. Florida's run game's good. And when they played defenses that get out of their gaps, they will make you pay. All right. The Mississippi State game was just hellacious.
I mean, Carter, I'm going to be real with you. I mean, they're a overtime score away to clipping Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Georgia's the 13th ranked. Say everybody looks at Georgia and says, oh, they have 2 losses. They're not the same Georgia team. Their defense is 13th in the country in total defense. Their defense is still really freaking good. They ran the ball all over Florida with a third-string quarterback. And, buddy, Carter, I'm going to be honest with you. We have not stopped Billy. We are not tough enough. No. Billy has scored 30-plus points twice on us. Twice.
Yeah. No,
and I don't think we're tough enough.
Yeah, I mean, Billy is inside zone. You better be ready. I mean, he's done a really good job of playing versus LSU for whatever reason. So we'll see. Obviously, that game last year in Tiger Stadium was just insane. You had the big Caleb Jackson special teams mistake, and Jaden still found a way, like he always did. And you're not going to have him bail you out like he did in 2022 and 2023. So you need Garrett to come in, play well, don't turn the football over, obviously. And like you said, can LSU run on a Florida defense that has been run on?
All over. They've been run all over.
And one thing I would say is Sloan did have a few nice misdirection screens, and Florida just could not stop that. They struggled tackling. They struggled dealing with blockers down the field. Granted, Texas's offensive line is the absolute best at blocking down the field on these screens. I mean, they build walls. They are incredible. So we'll see what LSU could do versus a Florida defense that you could torch. But then again, I want to see this LSU offense play well before I have, the utmost confidence in them having a game like they did versus Arkansas.
I'm with you. Look, man, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be closer than we're expecting. I think LSU fans are expecting that we're going to go in here and win. I'm not saying I think we're going to win. I don't think we dominate them, man. There's nothing that's shown me Carter, I'm to the place where, you know what? I hope that I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. I need to see you after the last 6 quarters, because here's the truth. Defensively, I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. That has no excuse on you not being able to score more than 12 points the last 6 quarters. Vandy scored 40 on Alabama. You scored, 10? 13?
Yeah, and they're at, and like them, they were at home. It's been tough. And honestly, Blake, we get into like the breakdowns of this unit and that unit. The simple truth is Brian Kelly's got to coach better. I mean, there's just been so many of these games where a big problem in the 3 years under Brian Kelly, slow starts. It happened again versus Alabama. Got to start faster. If you're getting paid what he's getting paid. You can't just have these hellacious halves. I mean, LSU has had so many bad halves under BK. All these things need to get better. And there's always just one weird bad thing for LSU every season that just doesn't make any sense, right? Last year it was the defense. The year before it was special teams. And now you're in a spot where, like, I mean, bad teams don't turn the football over as much as LSU's turned it over. Bad teams can stop simple zone read stuff and just stay in their gaps. So a lot of this goes on him. And you're still a BK guy. I'm still a BK guy, but he's got to be better. And look, I like the fact that he takes accountability in every press conference and says, I got to do better. Well, let's see it. Do better. And until he does that, I'm gonna keep saying it. I hope we get an inspired Arkansas-like performance on the road, and you know, he's got to cross your fingers and hope that you see that.
It was still probably the most complete game that you've played in the last 2 years, that Arkansas game.
Yes. Yeah.
And you know what's wild about that? You didn't throw a touchdown, nor did you have a turnover. How nuts is that?
Yeah. And one more thing. If Caden Durham is healthy, keep him in. Just keep him in.
All right. He spelled himself. I know you can see it on the TV copy.
So you're saying on the first drive.
On the first drive,
yes.
After the 45-yard run, he's spelling himself.
No. I'm with you on that.
After Josh Williams gets one carry, you got to look at him and says, we need you. Get your ass in there.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'll give you the Josh Williams counter run, which, by the way, I know we're blaming DJ Chester again on this. If you know running game, the counter run with Josh Williams in the red zone, the running back is lined up on the wrong side. Josh Williams. I don't think Josh is blowing assignments. I don't. Okay? They're scheming it up this way. If you are going to run power counter, the running back has to be behind the pulling guard. The reason that happens is because he's going to seal and you go right off of his ass on the seal. Schematically, DJ is supposed to give ground and pin to make a hole. So when it looks like DJ is getting blown up, it's because the formation of the run is fucked up to start off with. How people do not know this is beyond me. So, for example, Carter, remember in the Florida game a couple of years ago when Ty Davis-Price, they ran counter the entire time. He was lined up. When the guard pulled, where was the running back? To the same side as the pulling guard every single time. The Marlon Martinez special. They are lined up in wrong formations. I'm telling you they are.
So we got to get aligned properly.
We have to. I promise you this, as God is my witness, if you get aligned properly, it will work.
And one more thing on the BK thing before we go.
Okay.
The clock management stuff really hurts.
All right. I had a lot of people. So by the way,
it really hurts.
Okay, hold on.
That's where the Les Miles kind of scars.
Okay, hold on. Let me preface this. You and I made Tiger droppings this week. Okay. We got sent the link of somebody talking about Tiger droppings. You talked about lining up for a Hail Mary there at the halftime. Explain what you were talking about.
Yeah, so you should have had – I don't know if LSU has a game management coach. Okay, there should be one person. No,
it's Brian Kelly. He's the game management coach.
Yes, but there are teams that have someone who manages the clock. That's their job because there's so many factors at play. The only reason you would run a Hail Mary is if they didn't have any timeouts, which they didn't. It's rare, especially in the first half, of a team doesn't have any timeouts in that spot. But in that situation, when Caden Durham was tackled, first off, you have got to tell your team in that spot, no matter what happens, no matter the result of the play, rush the ball back to the official, okay? That shouldn't have been negotiable. That is a non-negotiable in that spot. And it wasn't just Caden Durham. It was three different players. One
CJ Daniels.
One guy who was a year 5 guy, another guy, Mason Taylor, who's a year 3 guy.
And,
That coaching.
and CJ should be yelling at Caden, get the ball back to him, get the ball back to him, get the ball back to him.
But the fact that you saw 3 different players in the same camera frame not do it lets you know that it's a coach. Brian Kelly takes his headset off with 15 seconds left. There's no reason to do that at all, period, unless you're in victory formation. What should have happened is
at worst, you get an interception. They can't return it.
Yeah.
Okay. At worst, okay. Think about this. What if you get a pass interference and you can kick a field goal?
yes, you with 5 seconds remaining, you should have lined up and done a Hail Mary. Okay. But the issue is your head coach took his headset off with 12 seconds left. And, well, what are you going to do in that spot? The bottom line in that situation is the offense should have been rushing. No matter what, that is a non-negotiable, okay? And, Blake, we lack some basic, like, football IQ things.
Oh.
Just basic. If the ball is on the ground, pick it up, all right? You pick it up outside of punt team, there's never an excuse to not pick up the ball if it's on the ground.
Pick it up the ball every time on punt team. That's the objective.
Right. Okay, but just in general. Okay, so in the second half of the game, there was a player named Jan Miller who went down with an injury, and he fumbled the ball. Okay, we don't know if he was down or not. Okay, we don't know, but we had 3 defenders stand around the football and not pick it up. Now, they ruled him down, but the rule is you can replay while he's on the ground hurt, and if you have immediate control of the ball, they'll give you the ball. So it's something it's free. It's free. You should do it every single time. And if Brian Kelly could have, let's just say Jan Miller did drop the ball before he hit the ground, then you have the football. Okay, it's just a free thing that you should do every single time. Emory Jones had one of these earlier this year. That was really smart to pick up, and Caden Durham was down anyway, but you should always just go hustle and pick up the ball.
Yeah, and he gave his entire body up on the sidelines. You remember that against South Carolina?
Yeah, South Carolina. So so you noticed that because you were taught to do that. Okay, it's
dude, and I'm talking about gave full blown game online effort.
Yes, so you always should do it, always, because if you did pick it up immediately, you can whistle in, hey, while he's on the ground hurt, and once again, I'm not happy that the Bama player was hurt, you could say, hey, it's free. Can we look to see if he had let go of it? And then you're in scoring position down 15 with another chance to get back into the game. So it's all these little things that are starting to pile up. And, we didn't talk so much about the defense tonight, obviously, Blake. They need to play a lot of new guys over the next couple of weeks just to see what you have.
Well, I was about to lean on that with you. Do you have 5 more minutes?
Yeah. What was your reaction? Let me ask you this. What was your reaction to Major Burns making a business decision?
It was one of my do's and don'ts tonight.
You can't
if I don't see hustle, I'm going to blow a gasket.
Dude, there is never, ever, ever. That's why I was so fired. There was just so many different things. If Alabama had come out and if it was like, let's say Ryan Williams making a bajillion crazy plays and they beat us, I can live with that. I can live with that, right? What happened versus Georgia, basically. But the fact that you have a multiple year starter, do or die game, make a business decision,
and then get clowned on social media behind it. He deserves that.
You can't. Here's why I've been so vocal about it. Is every team gets together and watch film, whether you watch it as a full team or just as a position group. You watch every play, in particular the plays where you give up bad plays, right? Because you want to fix what you're going to fix. Everybody in that entire room is going to see that play. And you're going to roll them back out there again? What kind of message? It's not a good message. Even if my backup safety is Jack Sparrow with the peg leg, I'm putting them back. I'm putting somebody else out there. Okay, you and Coach 30, as Joseph pointed out, Coach 30 I couldn't get through the coach dirty, so I didn't know if we got to that point.
I only saw that one spot. I couldn't watch
I
it.
couldn't get through it. But I understand Jalen Milroe is a big guy. I get it, but I don't give a damn. You need to get chalked. I have a lot more respect if I see an LSU player get run over, because that means you put your ass out there.
Well,
right?
and that's why I've been saying this entire year, and everybody's like, "Oh, you got to play Jordan Gilbert." At least I know you're just not able to make the play.
Yeah, Jordan's played hard.
He's giving you everything he's got, and you know what? I respect that. Okay, and look, everybody goes on there. Oh, this guy's trash. That guy's trash. It's why I've kind of been a little bit easy on Sage in a lot of ways. I just don't think Sage doesn't know what to do. It's not that he doesn't give effort. The dude gives effort. It's just that, like, he's just not good enough. Like, I see him trying to get off a block on that third down with the screen calls, the bubble screen on the first drive. He's trying. He just can't make it.
Let me ask you this on a grand scale. Are you in the camp that LSU should pull an Ole Miss this offseason and just go get
1,000%?
Because here's my thing.
Hold on, pause.
No, go on.
Remember when we talked about paying the money for Demonic Williams and all those other dudes? I was in that camp. And if you remember correctly, basically about 90% of the fan base and media told me I was an idiot. I'm not an idiot now, am I?
Yeah, and the thing I didn't like about the Dominic Williams saga is that just kind of took a lot of the air out of it. It really did. When Ole Miss got most of those guys pretty quickly in the portal, they were active early. So
even if it's not Demonic Williams, I know how much Simeon Barrow cost. I do.
What was it? $250,000? Whatever it may be, you've just got to do it. Because look, here's the thing: did LSU beat Ole Miss this year? Yes, but let me ask you this: who's the best team?
I would much rather be Ole Miss right now.
Yes, and did LSU lose to Florida State the year before?
Mm-hmm.
And Florida State did that. They got the best guys. Even though he was from a smaller school, everyone knew Braden Fisk was the best DT in the portal.
Yeah, he had 10 sacks in interior defensive lineman. Like, what are we doing?
So you got to be active in the portal.
You do.
You just
do.
I
think you're bringing in a good defensive overhaul in this class. Really, yeah. I do. Yeah. Okay, but I don't want to be here for another year doing this.
I don't either. And look, here's the thing that's been really impressive with what Florida State did 2 years ago, and obviously they're terrible now, and Ole Miss. I understand why LSU's hesitant because, you're hiring mercenaries. They're not fully bought in, and there's been some transfers that have been not good they were cancerous, right, from the class 4. I understand that, okay? But every single one of these Ole Miss defensive players have hit. Okay, every single one of them, and
they didn't have labels of being cancers on them either. Denver Harris did.
Yes, and the thing is all of them gelled pretty quickly. Why? Because they're good. When you have a bunch of good players, it makes every scheme look better. If Walter Nolan is destroying the middle every single time, everybody looks better. I mean, it's just that simple. So I hope LSU's very, very, very active early in the portal.
Me too. All right, Carter, we got to run here. Love you, buddy. I love you every time you're here. It's my favorite time of the week. We'll see you soon, bud.
See you, buddy. Go.
All right. We got to run with Carter too. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good one. Peace.